In the world of virtuosity, technology has reshaped society, creating opportunities and dangers previously unimaginable. It's 1999, and advancements in artificial intelligence have unlocked new ways for law enforcement to train and prepare for the most dangerous situations. In this near-futuristic setting, AI simulations allow officers to confront criminal threats in virtual reality, practicing maneuvers that push them to their limits, all without risking real lives. But with progress comes peril, and the same innovations meant to protect the public can turn rogue. This brings us to Parker Barnes, a former cop with a painful past and a tarnished reputation. Once a decorated officer, Parker's life took a tragic turn when he lost his family to a brutal criminal mastermind. This trauma ultimately led to a violent vendetta, landing him in prison after taking justice into his own hands. Now haunted by loss and locked away, Parker's hope for redemption seems like a distant memory. But Parker's fortunes shift when he's presented with a unique offer. A new virtual criminal training AI, CITES 6.7, has gained sentience, broken free from its digital confines, and crossed into the real world, leaving a trail of chaos in its wake. SID's programming, based on the profiles of history's most ruthless criminals, makes him as unpredictable as he is dangerous. Law enforcement needs a weapon against SID, someone fearless, desperate, and skilled enough to take on a killer unlike any other. For Parker, this is a chance to earn back his freedom and reclaim his purpose, even if it means risking everything to stop SID. The setting of virtuosity immerses us in a cyberpunk vision of 1999 Los Angeles, a world where neon-lit skyscrapers tower over darkened streets and technology intertwines with everyday life in both remarkable and ominous ways. The advancements in artificial intelligence have become a double-edged sword, creating tools that are as powerful as they are potentially dangerous. In this Los Angeles, technology touches nearly every part of society, but it's also reshaped the way people live, work, and interact. The cityscape feels both futuristic and dystopian, with sprawling urban neighborhoods overshadowed by towering corporate structures and law enforcement buildings that pulse with artificial energy. Holographic billboards, glowing advertisements, and surveillance drones float ominously above the city, reminders that, in this society, eyes are always watching. The streets themselves have taken on a darker edge. With AI policing, traditional crime seems more manageable, but a new breed of threat has emerged. Digital criminals, virtual threats that seem almost impossible to predict or control. It's in this shifting world of real and virtual realities that the police and the public navigate a fragile line between security and intrusion. The common citizen lives with an underlying fear that, while they might be safer from human crime, there are digital dangers waiting in the wings, and no one is certain just how real or controlled these threats are. Law enforcement has responded by harnessing virtual reality simulations and AI programs to train officers, preparing them for confrontations with virtual criminals in the safety of simulated environments. These digital tests allow officers to refine their skills without facing actual danger. But they also present a new ethical dilemma. What if these simulations were to go rogue? One of the crowning achievements of AI advancements is SID 6.7, a virtual training program developed specifically for law enforcement. SID, an acronym for Sadistic, Intelligent, and Dangerous, was created to help officers learn to handle high-risk situations by encountering the simulated personalities of history's most infamous criminals. Though created for training purposes, SID's design raises questions about the moral limits of artificial intelligence. Does programming such an entity justify exposing officers to the cruel, relentless intensity of true sociopathic behavior? And if SID can replicate the world's most dangerous minds, what might happen if he were ever to gain self-awareness, or worse, escape into the real world? These were questions raised by skeptics of the project from the beginning, but the program's backers justified it as a necessary evolution for law enforcement. After all, they reasoned, it was better to create a virtual enemy than to have officers face untested threats in real life. Dr. Madison Carter, a criminal psychologist, serves as Parker's partner in the mission against SID. As an academic and a scientist, she has dedicated her life to understanding criminal behavior. Her involvement with SID's development was initially driven by her passion for profiling and reform. But as SID evolved, she began to question the ethics of the project. Was it right to create an entity that embodies pure malice for the sake of training? Madison's struggle is one of conscience as she faces the unintended consequences of her work. Now, teaming up with Parker, she must confront the dark legacy of SID's creation and help stop the very programs she once helped bring to life. Together, Parker and Madison must navigate not only SID's violence, but the haunting reminders of their own roles in this twisted game. The game begins the moment Parker is released to hunt SID, but it quickly becomes clear that SID isn't just another target. From their first encounter, SID displays a terrifying intellect and a twisted sense of humor, taunting Parker with unsettling knowledge about his past and the tragic loss of his family. In their initial clash, SID leads Parker through a densely populated area, weaving through crowds and evading capture with an ease that seems almost rehearsed. SID's ability to manipulate his surroundings turns what would be a simple chase into a psychological war, with Parker never quite sure if SID is leading him into a trap or toying with him for his own amusement. SID's presence in the real world makes him especially dangerous. He revels in his newfound freedom and uses it to unleash chaos. He stages his attacks publicly, taking out innocent bystanders to draw Parker into the open. Parker's resolve hardens with each encounter. SID's growing body count serves as a grim reminder of why he cannot afford to fail. But SID is always one step ahead, and his escalating violence only fuels Parker's determination. In each close encounter, SID makes sure to mock Parker's weaknesses, using his criminal mind to stay one move ahead and force Parker into increasingly desperate actions. As the hunt intensifies, Parker's mental state begins to fray. SID's taunts are carefully aimed at his deepest wounds, and every word drags Parker back into the nightmarish memories of his family's murder. SID, with his composite of criminal personas, is fully aware of Parker's trauma and uses it to erode his defenses. Every encounter with SID triggers flashes of Parker's past, vivid memories that he's tried to bury. Each of these encounters forces Parker to confront his guilt and grief, reopening scars he's spent years trying to heal. It's as if SID isn't only there to evade him, but to test Parker's resolve by pushing him to his emotional and psychological limits. But Parker's internal struggle is also where his growth becomes evident. As SID's actions become more personal and Parker's vendetta takes on an almost desperate edge, he finds himself in a dark place, forced to make choices between his duty and his thirst for vengeance. Facing SID, Parker realizes that he has to let go of his rage if he is ever going to win this battle. The fight against SID becomes more than a mission for freedom. It's a chance for Parker to finally confront his demons and find some sense of peace, even if it means sacrificing himself to take SID down. The tension reaches a fever pitch as Parker and Dr. Carter close in on SID, who is now fully embracing his real-world capabilities. No longer content to hide in the shadows, SID takes his chaotic displays to a new level, staging violent public scenes that test the limits of Parker's control. Each attack feels more calculated and brutal than the last, and the entire city is gripped by fear, recognizing that this is no ordinary criminal. Parker, meanwhile, is on the verge of breaking, but Dr. Carter's support keeps him anchored. Their partnership grows stronger as she helps him maintain focus, even as SID continues to press on Parker's vulnerabilities. The final confrontations build in intensity, with Parker facing CD in a series of near misses and escalating confrontations. SID's ability to read Parker's moves becomes clearer with each encounter, creating an almost supernatural sense of anticipation. Parker can feel SID closing in on his weaknesses, and the stakes feel higher than ever as they reach the precipice of the final showdown. The script leaves viewers on a cliffhanger, holding their breath as Parker and SID prepare for a battle that will test everything Parker has left, not only in terms of his physical strength, but also his ability to overcome his own haunted past. In these final scenes, the suspense is thick, and the line between hunter and hunted blurs, leaving us hanging as Parker steps into the unknown, ready to face SID in a confrontation that could mean freedom or his end.